Hello, it's time for Combat Patrol Carnage. So it's time to dive into a new issue, and it's issue 24, the second part of our Aeldari Guardians. So in this issue we have the paint guide for them, so we're adding the colours of Saim Hann to our bare plastic models, so the red, white and black. We're looking at the fall of the Aeldari, what it takes to birth a god of chaos. We look at the Webway, the Aeldari's secret passage, the Forge Worlds of the Imperium, and we return to Sergeant Askerton's story in Bonds of Honour Part 6. Finally then we got a naming article for our Guardian Defenders, so we can use our table from the last issue, and then we have a little battle where the Guardian Defenders are coming to the aid of a Farseer who has been caught off guard by a squad of Von Reinsleepers, and Termagants are closing in. So this issue does come with a frame. It's the second part of our Guardian Defenders frame, or third part should I say. And we got the heavy weapons platform with all the different gun options. We got one body, and we got all the close combat weapons if you want to build Storm Guardians, which are the alternate build for this kit. We also get the bases, so one 40mm base for our platform to go on. And we of course get 10 28mm bases for our Guardian Defenders. So we'll paint these guys in just a sec. I've got the models I built last video ready to go. But before we do, don't forget to do all the usual. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and drop me a comment down below. Love hearing back from you guys. Let me know how you're getting on with your hobby. I know a lot of people are still backlogged due to this horrible weather, but hopefully this weather is going to be clearing up in the next month or two, and we can actually get out and do some spraying and get our models painted. Finally then, Combat Patrol Carnage is proudly sponsored by warbay.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. They stock everything from new and used models for various different armies and game systems to all your hobby essentials and your gaming equipment as well. They also stock part work such as Combat Patrol, so there's a link in the video description for you if you want to check them out, and who knows, you might find your next hobby project at a bit of a discount. Right, let's go splat some colours on these Aeldari Guardians. I've already got them up undercoated in red, so now it's time to add the rest of the details. So here we are then, issue 24, and we have the final part of our Guardian Defenders. So we've got all their bases, which we'll be needing to help build our models. So I'll put those off to the side. So 28mm for the Guardians, and a 40mm for our weapon platform. And on this frame, we pretty much have just the weapon platform. So we've got some nice little detail basing material there. We've got the top plate, the bottom plate. We've got the Serpent Shield if you're building up Storm Guardians with the shield generator there. We've also got the weapon housing, the weapon shield, and all our different weapons that we can take there. We are building up the Star Cannon though for the Combat Patrol, but if you want to, it shouldn't be too hard to pin and make these weapons interchangeable. That's something I'm definitely going to be doing for when I take these Aeldari outside of the Combat Patrol magazine. And yeah, despite the paint guide showing it, the build guide doesn't actually show how to sub-assembly this. It just says glue everything down. No mention about keeping the actual weapon platform separate from the base detail. But that's what the paint guide wants us to do, so I'm probably going to be doing that until we got to the point where everything is fully painted. Alright, quick adjustment of the camera and we'll have a look at our full guide, and I'll introduce you through the paint guide, and then we can bring in our desk and get painting. Into issue 24 we go. So the full guide for the issue. We get our paint guide for our Guardian Defenders. We read about the fall of the Aeldari and how they managed to create the fourth Chaos God Slanesh. We learn about the Webway, the Aeldari's mystical portal that lets them travel the galaxy in a blink of an eye. We learn about the Forge worlds of the Imperium as we take a step back to looking at the Imperial worlds. And we also have a short story, Bonds of Honor Part 6, as we return to Sergeant Askerton and his quest to retrieve his lost rifle. Finally, we have a collect article for our Aeldari Guardians, so we're bringing in the naming table from issue 23 and giving them their name and title. And then finally we have Escape to Victory, where we see our new Guardian Defenders rescue the Farseer from the jaws of the Tyranids. So before we bring in the desk, we've got to have a look through our guide so we can familiarise ourselves with what paints are needed if we're following this guide. So, how to paint Guardian Defenders. Follow this guide to paint your unit of Guardian Defenders. Gather your models and paints and make sure the glue is dry on your models before you begin. And then set up your painting station in a well-lit area. Make sure you read this guide in full before you start and take breaks whenever you need to. So we'll have to undercoat our models with Mephiston Red. I've already done that to the models I built last issue. And we've got the weapon platform as well to build and to paint there as well. Once we've got 3 layers of Mephiston Red down, we can start picking out the black details. So the face masks, all the bits of the weapon, so the cable attaching it to the arm and the actual gun itself. Little control for the weapon platform there. Any leather straps, so there's some on the arms, some on the legs, and there's some bits of piping and stuff on the backs. If you've got any bare heads, you can paint some black, some you can paint white, just to have a bit of variety. Paint the full gun on the weapon platform as well, and the underside of it as well, which is why we want to leave that as a sub-assembly. Moving on to Corax White, so painting the helms of all our Guardian Defenders, and if you want to, paint some of the hair, just to make things look a little different. If you've got any bare faces, pick those out with Wraithbone, ready for a flesh wash later on. Retributor armor is used to base all of our gold details. There's quite a lot of these little raised nubs on all the weapons, and each Guardian, of course, has their Spirit Stone. Then bringing in my Crag Blue to pick out the actual Spirit Stone, the little screen on the platform controls, and their eyes as well. And there's our finished gallery up to this point. As you can see, they've done a couple of female heads with white hair. Male heads have got black hair. And the majority of them they've built with the helmets on though. And you can see all the different bits that we might not have been able to see in the paint guide. So all the areas that should be picked out in certain colours. So always check back to your gallery once you've finished, making sure you haven't missed anything. Right then, let's bring in my paint desk and we can paint our Guardians and the weapon platform. Right, here we are, paint desk all set up, and we have our models. So I've already slapped down the 3 coats of Mephiston Red over our Guardians and weapon platform, and now we can start moving on to our first colour, which we don't use a lot in this guide, but our first colour is Avalon Black. So we've got all the black details to pick out. So this is the guns, the small leather straps, the face mask, and some of the piping around the back as well. So we get a small puddle of this on our palette. Ready. I'll brush a bit of clean. And then we can start applying. So, onto our model, we got the face mask. We can paint the whole of the area as we're going to be painting the eyes. That's fine. Later on. Then we got our gun here to pick out. And around the back we got the gaps in between the back veins to pick out with the black. And then we got these bits that help support their fragile spines, sort of like an exosuit type thing, making them more durable and agile. Also, if you've built the weapon pouches like I have, paint these all black, and then when we come to the gold, we'll paint the clasps at the end with Retributor armor. Our final detail then to pick out any of the small leather straps that we have hanging off our model. So we've got 2 on the leg and 1 on the arm. And also if you've got any of these bonding bands, which I believe in the lore is signifying that the Aeldari in question is in a relationship. I could be wrong, just correct me if any Aeldari aficionados are watching this. So there we have our black details pretty much blocked in. So we'll put that to the side for the moment and we'll turn our attention to the weapon platform, as we have 2 things to do on here. So I'll disassemble it. So first off, we have the actual gun itself, which needs to be black. I think a larger brush would be better for this. So I'll paint this all black. And then turning to the bottom of our weapon platform, we got these raised grav plates. They need to be picked out in black. While waiting for the second coat of black to dry on the gun, we can move back to the Guardians and onto our second colour, which is Corax White, and this is just for the helmets. If you've got any barehead Eldar, it's advisable to vary their hair, so do these in different colours. If I bring in a couple of ones I've done, utilising the colours we've got in the collection so far, I've given one yellow hair. I've got Spock here with black hair. My spotter has brown hair. And my final 2 that are bareheaded have white hair. Just so you can see how that looks on the models. But on these particular ones, we're going to look at painting the helmets. So we'll get some Corax White on our palette, just a small amount, thin it out with a little bit of water, and then onto our model. So just want to pick out the helmet, avoiding the black as best we can. And of course being careful around the red armour. But as usual with all of these guides, any mistakes you've made you can touch up at the end, going back to your base colour, which in this case is Mephiston Red. There we go, 2 coats of white are down on those helmets and they're looking pretty crisp. So our next colour, if you have any bare heads on your models, would be Wraithbone, but as we don't, we're skipping straight to the next colour after that, which is Retributor Armour. And this is to pick out gold details on the guns, the Spirit Stone housings, and as I mentioned earlier, we got those details on the belts to pick out on their hips. So once we've got some Retributor prepared, you can go in. So first thing, right in the middle of her chest here is her Spirit Stone housing. So we'll paint the whole of that with Retributor armor. And we've got some gold details to pick out on the gun, just a little bit above the ammo clip there, and another bit on the bottom of the ammo. And then on our belts, so we've got the clasps here at each end. And to help break it up, I like to pick out these little triangle devices that hold the ammo / grenades onto the belt, just to add an extra spot of colour. Then onto our gun, so we got all of these raised details to pick out. One's down here as well, and these little buttons at the back. And then there's this raised details on the plasma cells as well. Once you've done that, we only have one colour to do. But first off, don't forget to change your water, as we have just finished using metallic paints. Now our gold is complete, we can move on to our final colour, and with fresh water, we're moving to Macragge Blue. This is for the eyes on our Guardian helmets, the Spirit Stones, and if you've got the controller for the weapon platform, the gem on the top of that as well. So you just need a tiny bit, as there's not a lot of detail to do. So onto our model, we got the Spirit Stone here, just trying to get the very top raised area, like so, and making sure we got a nice point to our brush. We've got to get the eyes in the helmet as well. And there, our Guardians are currently magazine complete. We'll come back to these in a future issue once we've got new paints and we'll learn new techniques. But I'm up to tidy these up, as I've got a little bit of black spill there, and I'll see you back at the magazine. And there we go, our Guardian Defenders are magazine ready. And yeah, they're looking quite good, I think. So up next then, we have our lore articles, and as a special preview, coming up soon will be how I paint Iyanden coloured Guardians, utilising the colours we have in the collection. And by looking at the premium kit we've had so far, I'll be utilising any of the shades and highlight colours that are advertised in there. He's a bit blotchy in places, especially on the blue armour. I think the shade that I used, which was Ryclone Flesh Shade, was the older one, and that dried a little rough and didn't give a very good finish to the models, and really messed up any future layers going on top. But yeah, there we go. That is a preview of a special episode to come. But for now, that's it. Our Guardians are battle ready, and we can take them into battle in a couple of videos time. But as I said, up next is our lore articles. So we've got some more information on the Aeldari, we have a short story, and of course we get to name our squad. So I hope you'll join me for that, and all what's left for me to do is say thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time on more Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.